just go ahead and jump right in. What do you
Yeah,
think?
sure.
You want to do
Yeah,
that?
all good.
Yeah. Welcome to the Tragedy Academy, a show created to bridge societal divides in a judgment-free zone using candor and humor. My name is Jay, and we are joined today by Elizabeth Snyder, master photographer dedicated to helping women feel their worth, capturing their true essence through portraits. You got 33 years of experience, and you've won a lot of awards. How you doing today,
I'm
Elizabeth?
doing well. How are you?
I am living the dream. You're out in Buffalo,
I
right?
am.
How do you like it up there?
You know what? I do like it. I don't love our winters, but we always have really beautiful springs and falls, so it
I
makes up for it.
totally get it. I lived up in Watertown area for about 5 years when I was in the Army, and it was the land of the frozen chosen.
Yeah,
It was so stinking cold up
yeah,
there.
it is. It's pretty cold. We live
It's
between two
miserable.
lakes, so we get pounded with snow. It's
Yep,
yeah.
that lake effect snow is no
No, it
joke. You're
isn't.
like, oh, we got 10 inches. I'm like, we got like 4
Hmm.
feet. Like people can't even comprehend what falls out there.
Exactly.
At any rate, um, first of all, welcome to the show. And I want to tell you thank you for being someone that is pursuing their authentic and your authentic passion. You can see that interacting with people is really your true gift, and that your talent is the work that you do day to day with your pictures. That's what I interpret from this. That's why I'm so excited to sit down and talk with you, because I think it's a blending of two things that a lot of people don't do. And I think that's why you get the results that you do. Um, it doesn't necessarily have to be all technique and all technical skill. It's what you can pull from your art.
100%. Thank you very much, and thank you for the work you're doing, because you're getting all of these stories out there, and I have been listening, and it's fantastic. You guys are doing a great
Oh,
job.
thank you. I appreciate it. So, why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself, how you got into photography, and why this means so much to you?
Oh, for sure. So okay. So I'm Liz. I own Elizabeth Snyder Photography, and I got started when I was 8 years old. So my aunt,
Wow.
who is about 8 years older than me, she's my half aunt. So her grandfather gave her a whole bunch of equipment and chemicals and everything else to set up a modest dark room and studio in her attic. And so I grew up pretty. Mm, it was a little traumatic, and the family that knew, and so every once in a
Okay.
while she'd pick me up and get me out of the house and get me to come with her. Yeah,
That family member. There's few and far between, but they are very special
for
humans.
sure.
From another person that grew up in a scenario like that had a rescue human. I like those people. They see it. They do what they can when they can, which means a lot.
It means a ton. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so from then on I was just in love with it. So I helped her set up the studio, the dark room, and when I saw what the dark room could do, it's like real magic. It's like alchemy, because you're
It
seeing
is.
something appear on a piece of blank paper. Like it was awesome. It was absolutely awesome. And from there, I was just hooked. I helped her with her headshot business. And then life happened in between. So I had 2 kids pretty early. I got married really young and then divorced and all of the things that follow. So, including, hunger and food banks and welfare and
Mm,
all the rest.
hmm.
But dug myself out. And you know what I found was that when I stayed true to my passion, so opening up this business like 13 years ago now, I have never been happier. And I was able to make enough money to support me and my kids and get a house and all the rest. It's been a wild ride, but I wouldn't have had it any other way. And honestly, like the stuff that all happened before that all led me here. So I'm actually grateful for it.
You're speaking my language. We can't be happy with where we are if we're not grateful for where we came from,
Absolutely.
right? And I say on the show a lot that you have to hit your knees to plant a tree before you can grow into something.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds like you had a toolbox that was given to you in the beginning. You had a recognized talent and a gift and a passion that you went and pursued young, but had to endure life.
Mm-hmm.
And we put priorities. We get a societal benchmark that we have to hit in certain areas that says we're not successful if we're not checking these blocks. If we're not a mother, we're not doing these things. If we're not in corporate, we're not doing these things.
Mm-hmm.
And even the slight shame veil that comes with pursuing things that are artistic. Well, that's not a real job,
Mm-hmm.
and those types of things. And it sounds like you were able to take what it was traumatic times in life and happiness and all those trials and tribulations and wrap them up into a new form of art, in that you now understand what the human experience is at a different level. You got a great entry into the world where you got to see what it's like to have to be hyper vigilant, and now you can recognize people, but you don't know what to do with that. You get out there, you live like, a jackass that's been traumatic or been through a traumatic background. I'm speaking about myself now, right? You get out there, you navigate, and then you find a spot where you put the brakes on. You say, okay, well, when was I happy and when was I not happy? I was
Exactly.
happy when I had my passion in my hands, and I was not happy when I was pretending, because that's what we're
Yeah.
doing. We're trying to create this alternate us that has all of these likes and dislikes that are acceptable in society, and it's got jobs and it's got material things and all that. But you recognized that you had a chance to go back to your roots. And
Yeah.
that is something that people are not doing today. So when you decided to go back to your roots, did you have a point in time that you were shooting for? And I say that because there are moments in our childhood that are timeless that we don't find as adults. And I find that art, whatever your passion is the place where that timelessness began, right?
Yeah.
So do you know where you went back to find your roots?
Honestly, it was the year I turned 12 was extremely difficult. And it was a rough time in our home. And I had all the back issues of Photographic America that my aunt had given me.
Mm-hmm.
And I memorized like all of them. so so knowing who the masters were, what they were doing, why they were doing it,
Mm.
and who they were before they decided to do it. Um, that is what I went back to, because I was working at a bank. I was foreclosing on people's businesses. So getting rid of people's
Ew.
dreams, right?
Yeah,
And
no, I'm with you.
yeah, it was soul sucking. It was absolutely soul sucking. And I couldn't do it. I'm like, this is just like, I don't want to do my job. This is horrible.
Nobody does. This is the thing. Unless you're doing your passion, if you're out there grinding for cash,
Yeah.
getting your biosurvivability tickets, and you're not liking what you're doing, you're just doing it to get by.
Yeah.
Very few people are doing what they're passionately made for.
Agreed. Yeah, 100%. And yeah, so it was bad. But a friend of mine had asked me, okay, well, you're miserable, obviously. You're a friend of mine at work. And he said, if you could do anything, time, circumstance, like whatever, age, it's not an issue. What would you do? And my knee jerk reaction was photography. It was always photography. So I had an old camera. I started really practicing with, getting good with my settings and figuring it out again. And
Mhm.
by then the world had gone digital. So I had learned all analog and had no
Right.
idea what to do. And thank God I didn't actually go to school for it, because I would have had to learn everything all over again anyway. And it just it blossomed from there. Within a year, I was able to quit my job at the bank and make this my full-time gig. And, I never looked back. It's just been fantastic.
That's amazing. And I would be remiss not to point out that having that analog background gives you a leg up on the digital world for the simple fact that you're creating an artistic expression in a moment that requires you to understand lighting. It requires you to understand focus. It requires you to understand emotion, all these things, because it's one shot, one kill, man.
Mm-hmm.
This is, you don't get a whole lot of those.
Nope.
Right, it's a limited time offer with film, and you don't know if you screwed it up later.
Exactly.
But here's another thing: you've got the talent to be able to create a better picture once it meets digital, because you're bringing something that is much more true to form.
Yeah.
It meets the actual criterion of a great photo before the little enhancements. But that person that started out in digital has used enhancements only.
Mm-hmm.
And enhancements only take life out of photos.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, no, you had to learn to trust that you knew what you were doing with lighting. You had to use a whole bunch of meters to figure out, where's the light coming from? How strong is it going to be? Where's your f-stop got, like all of that. And even still today, I'm like, I run people through it and make sure that I'm coaching the right way to make sure that I get the shot before I take the shot. And that's an old film thing because film's expensive. um, now
But time
it's just,
is as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Film is replaced by time.
For sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Because now we have to mass produce our art in order to survive. But it does not look like you do that.
Exactly.
The experiences seem individual. I went through your site, I was looking at your photos, and when it came to the women's portraits, which I think is an amazing thing and an amazing platform to address, the women that were in these pictures did not look like they were in pictures. They looked like they were in a happy environment. Most photos that people take in these settings, and I'm not talking about boudoir or even, the professional photos or the headshots, you can see when someone's smiling and when someone's smiling, right? Because the eyes tell, the face tells, but it's also an viewable essence that people will have. And it seems like you have the ability to draw on people's emotions and make them feel comfortable with themselves. And I see that in the pictures. Tell me what it is to help women find themselves comfortable in front of a camera, which has been the mortal enemy of my entire generation. Gen X is not on camera. We're gone. Like, there's more photos on beta or whatever it was, old films that our grandparents had. And then it's like, poof, it disappeared. And then millennials popped up. So what is it like helping women realize their true inner beauty and outer beauty at the same time?
Oh, for sure. So my clientele, you kind of, you get what you put out there, right? So I'm like that micro generation between Gen X and millennials. So
my wife is in there.
Yeah. So it's, it's a little different, but the women that I'm attracting are mostly Gen X, maybe older millennial. And the younger millennials and Gen Z are the most photographed generation ever.
Right.
And the younger kids, some like my kids, are so good at knowing exactly what their good side is, knowing what angle they need to be at, and that isn't from me. That's just from them taking selfies all the time. So it's pretty amazing. But for the women who struggle, because we were raised by boomers or silent generation or whatever, we don't have that, and we don't think we deserve it. So, and especially women.
Oh, wow.
So, we've been bombarded our entire lives by media telling us that we're not good enough unless we have this, that, or the other, or buy this, that, and the other, or whatever. And we're constantly trying to keep up with these celebrities that have hundreds of millions of dollars that we don't have access to. We don't have staff. We don't have, so they say, Beyonce has the same 24 hours. That isn't true. She has staff. She has people to help her with all that stuff. So, we don't we do not give ourselves credit. And a lot of women, especially moms, will hide behind their kids in pictures or will just opt out of
Mm.
pictures or whatever. So the story that I have around like not being photographed, especially as women, there's somebody very, very close to me that passed away a few years ago.
Mm.
And the first thing we do when somebody passes is look for pictures to make that slideshow or that board at the wake or the funeral, or whatever it is. We couldn't find anything in the last 20 years of her because she just felt so low about herself, her body, her face, whatever. She was not allowing people to take pictures of her. And that's your legacy. That's your legacy. That's what you're leaving behind. And your kids and your nephews and nieces or whoever else, they don't care about the extra 5 to 10 or 20 pounds that you put on. They want you. They see you. So for the women in my studio, once in a while I'll tell that story, but I don't like to be too morbid, you know.
No, you're fine. You're absolutely fine discussing these things. Our audience is they're well versed in these topics, and that should be the expectation when we come here. We're not trying to bring everybody down or anything like
Right.
that. We talk about these things because they provide lenses. Lenses are experiences that are layered over time,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if you get the opportunity to look through somebody else's lens and really pay attention to them, then you're able to look at the bigger picture and empathize with them. So it's okay to discuss this because this person did leave behind a legacy.
Mm-hmm.
The legacy that they left behind was that they were able to give you a clear vision of how someone can be put inside of that mask
Yeah.
and hide themselves behind it. And while it's not anything that we want anyone to endure, but if someone is going to endure it, they're going to do it in front of a friend that has the ability to affect change after the fact. So I would say that your friend did more than most people with that regard. And in memoriam, I believe that while pictures do serve as a way or a gateway in time,
Mm-hmm.
I also believe that matter is neither created nor destroyed,
Mm-hmm.
and it's always now. It's never the future, it's never the past. So in that regard, nobody leaves. They just change form.
Exactly.
Right.
Yep.
So for those people that don't have photos, just understand that it's like a radio station. Simple as
Yeah.
that. They're on 95.5, you're on 87.7, and you'll get there when you get there, but they're with you.
Yeah. No, I agree.
So
I agree completely. But yeah, so the women that come in, once in a while, I will tell that story to them because they're nervous. They're, kind of keyed up. And especially if it's a headshot that their boss told them that they have to have and they don't want. Sometimes they're even a little angry when they come in because they're like, I can't believe I have to
best
do this.
headshot ever.
Exactly. So it's like, okay, how do I take this person who clearly doesn't entirely love themselves, is, upset that they have to do this to begin with, and make them smile for real? So when they're in hair and makeup, everybody gets professional hair and makeup here because I can't do my job
Well, of
without it.
course, you're a very
I
professional
try.
artist. I mean, all of your pictures speak 1,000 words
Thank
every
you.
single time.
But yeah, even that is sometimes like, I don't need it. I'm like, yes, you do. Trust me. It's not so much that they need
No,
it.
I'm with you.
Yeah,
No,
it just
I
makes my
get you. I
job
get you.
easier in the long run. So I'm like, look, it's
Right.
even if they don't wear makeup, we can look barefaced and whatever.
No,
Anyway,
I'm with you.
yeah,
There's a way to look natural without looking natural, or without having all natural
exactly. Yeah,
makeup on. I'm not a makeup person,
right.
but I do like to point out something
Yeah.
about makeup, and that is that we hand our children, women,
Hmm.
young girls, a tackle box full of paint
Yep.
to put all over their face and nails and whatever. And then and only then do we tell them how much more beautiful they are than they were before,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
We're giving them all of these false understandings for their worth because now they will always want to attain the special, beautiful, the princess, or need to be just as beautiful as the woman next to her or the one that's in the magazine or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But we really instill this into girls so young.
It's very, yeah.
Now, filters, I don't even know what the hell to think.
Yeah, no, I agree completely. And I just saw something like it might have been over Christmas, but the um the 10-year-olds on TikTok with the makeup tutorial, they're way better than I am. But I
Right?
cannot,
My wife gets mad
oh
at
my
him.
God, I can't even believe it. And like I wasn't allowed to wear makeup until I was like 15. So, I'm like where are they coming from? But whatever. But no, they're so young. They're babies. They're babies.
Mm.
But I mean really the hair and makeup is just so that I don't have so much editing work to do. It just kind of like it just fills it in, and smooths everything out, and it's
Enhances natural
exactly,
beauty.
yeah, we don't go overboard.
Yeah, and it gets rid of some of the imperfections that we perceive about
Hmm.
ourselves. You know,
Exactly, and people do feel much better after they have it too, because they're just like, oh, because how many times in your life do you get professional hair and makeup done? It's like your graduate or your senior pictures and
hmm
your maybe your wedding, like that's about it. So it does make women feel like pampered, I should say, not so much that they don't love each other or love themselves, natural, which a lot of them do, but it just it's a really good pamper thing.
Well, how often do we become mindful with
Yeah,
ourselves? How often do we sit and tell ourselves how beautiful we are?
exactly.
How often are we sharing the words that we would give any other person with
Yep.
ourselves? We don't.
No.
I heard an adage once about, or not, just if you took somebody, say you were your brain was your apartment, right? Would you talk to yourself, right, the
Hmm.
same way that you talk to your roommate, or you talk to your roommate the same way you talk to yourself?
Hmm.
And you don't, right? If they're
Exactly.
both sitting in the same room, you talk to yourself like shit.
Yep.
But if you talk to your roommate the same way, what kind of person would you be?
Yep. I tell people that all the
You'd be an
time.
animal.
Yeah. I'm like, why are you talking to yourself in a way that not only would you not talk about somebody else, but also that you wouldn't allow somebody to talk about you like that. You're
Mm,
doing it, but you would never allow somebody else to do it, right? So I'm like, why are you allowing yourself? So we go through that, and then my favorite
hmm
part of the conversation, like before we even get started, is okay. So how, like, what do you do, and what led you there? And
hmm
because that always fascinates me because I have my own story, and
Right.
And is it what you always thought you would be doing? So if you dreamt about being
Mm.
a mortgage foreclosure, for instance, like somebody who goes to the bank, works in collections, forecloses on people's houses, like if that's what you wanted to do in kindergarten when we
Who
get that
talks about that at
question,
career day?
right? And I'm like, I can't work with that. But if you wanted to be like a rock star or an astronaut or whatever, and if you wanted to be the astronaut, you're probably still looking up at the stars at night, right? If you wanted to be a
hmm
rock star, you're probably singing as loud as you can in your car every time you get in it. There are things that
It's
we
in your
hang on to,
DNA.
exactly. And I do actually teach a course on living through your passion, like living through your purpose, because it's easier to find your purpose than you think it is. Way easier. And it's in minutes, not
Mm.
days or years. You know deep down what you're supposed to be doing, and you listen to somebody at some point tell you no, and you believe
100%.
them. Yeah. So we just start with like these kind of deep questions. Like, of course, I'm not just like as soon as they walk in the door, but we warm up to them. And
tell me your deepest core wound.
exactly. And so I work with it so that we can start cracking jokes about it. We can start digging a little deeper.
Mm.
And, okay, smile, smile bigger, smile whatever, which of course are things that I say to people, but usually I can crack a joke and get a real smile out of them once they're comfortable. And there's a
Bingo.
huge difference between smile, say cheese, as if somebody's actually smiling. We have all of these little micro muscles in our face. We've got, and I can't
Mm-hmm.
remember the number, but we have more muscles in our face than just about anywhere else in our body. And it's seeing without realizing that you're seeing those little micro muscles move that separates a
Fake.
say cheese from an actual smile. And 100% of the time they pick the natural smiles when I show them their photographs for their headshots or whatever we're doing. Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
We're so smart yet
Yep.
stupid at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
We think that we're better than ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
We think that we know better than whomever or whatever created us with how we should be conducting ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Right? What a slap in the face for whatever made you or whoever made you, right?
Yep.
Like I've got the keys to this machine and I know better than the one that built it, right? The one that built it put a passion in there.
Yep.
They had something that they said, your fingerprint is, Jay, you're going to be a loud and crazy dude that likes to do cartoon characters, that does music and speaks to people openly about their past traumas, giving them the opportunity to feel heard. These are the things that I'm good at. I didn't do it before. Much like yourself, I was in a corporate world. That
Mm-hmm.
was a solution architect. Fuck is that? I used to farm out jobs to other countries. That's a way to just smash people's hopes and dreams,
Mm-hmm.
right? I hated it. And I realized, just like we're discussing the smile, you can't see a happy face in that environment. You can look at a set of photos, they're like mug shots. And then there's the real smile is giving you double finger guns, right? You're
Exactly.
like,
Yep.
hey, it's so glaringly different. Some people just believe that they can fool us.
Yeah.
But you're uncomfortable. You're not going to be loved any more than if you're being 100% yourself. And why would anybody love someone that hasn't even taken the time to love themselves or prove themselves lovable at
Yeah.
all? Right?
Yeah. No,
So I
100%.
love that you're giving this gift to people of showing them that they're worthy of love, they're worthy of time in front of the camera, and breaking down those barriers and allowing them to become themselves in a short amount of time. That's a gift. That's a gift that not many people have. But I'm
Mm-hmm.
curious, just out of this conversation, I feel like there's a side impact that might be happening here. May not be all the time, but I feel like you've gotten a call from somebody that has gone through your sessions and said, I changed my career.
I have not gotten, so I haven't gotten the call that they've completely switched, but actually I'm talking to a woman. I've shot with her, I think 3 or 4 times now. She kept coming in. It was a headshot initially for her very corporate, very male driven career. And she is now doing health coaching, and it's a little woo. She's got a machine that
So,
reads your DNA, like from a hair sample or nail clippings or whatever, and it gets into what your body needs energetically, as well as supplement wise, but the energetics is what I'm super attached to. Like I love that. And she is like the when I started shooting with her, she was the most corporate, like had that male
Mm.
competitive energy, like very in that world. And now she is showing other people how to meditate, what their bodies need, where chakras are not aligned, all of this stuff that I never even thought that she would ever get there. And she's doing that. And I don't say that I wasn't a part of that probably, but she is killing it. And I'm so excited for her. And I cannot believe that this is the same person, and I knew her probably about 3 years now, and I'm just so excited for her because
Isn't
she's
isn't that transformation beautiful when somebody recognizes their true potential and what they're here to do?
oh, absolutely.
The calling those things woo, I do periodically. I'll say something like that because you see the judgment in eyes when people bring up things like energy or the unexplainable phenomenons that go around
Yeah.
us. I mean, let's be real. You can't explain a single feeling that's going on in your body. It's just there,
Yep.
right? But that's something. And there are Western or Eastern religions that have given descriptions to things that we have not,
Yep.
that we don't have words for in our culture because we've strayed away from it. That doesn't mean that they're not one and the same.
Yeah.
Science, religion, spirituality, they're all speaking the same stories and
Hmm.
language. They're just not comprehended by the recipients.
Yeah. I agree 100%. I mean, look at places like China that have had like their version of like, well, medical stuff,
Yeah,
but it's a
yeah.
lot of tapping, it's a lot of vagus nerve, it's a lot of like inner ear stuff, it's pressure points. It's absolutely completely different from Western medicine. And I cannot even tell you, once I started using some of these techniques, my life has completely changed. I've had cancer twice. I've had
Whoa.
ton of surgeries. I've had a BRCA2 diagnosis that, I've
Wow.
had the bilateral
Well,
mastectomy and the hysterectomy and all the rest.
I'm so happy that you survived.
Oh, I'm fine. Yeah, no. The cancers were very, if I was going to get it, those were the easy kinds. So I had thyroid, so they took the thyroid out. I had cervical, so they did the stuff. I'm all good.
And
Take
see,
the
yeah,
stuff
I
out, you're
would
good.
not put the C word gets no little diagnosis in my book because if the doctor could say the worst cancer or the least, and it could be like just a small little mark on my skin. My life is over immediately as soon as they say it. My wife's going to be holding me. I'm going to be like, oh, like it's over. So I'm surprised that you can talk about it so
I
nonchalantly,
couldn't
which
always. It's been a little far removed at this point,
I
but
think that's another place for the knees, planting
yeah,
trees and realizing true
yeah,
potential,
for sure.
right?
But we're being poisoned. Yeah, our country. I've been to Europe. I've had their food. I've had their bread. I
Hmm.
can't eat bread here without having a reaction. I ate their bread and I was perfectly fine, because they're not allowed to use the amount of preservatives, chemicals, whatever that our country allows. And we are exposed to this stuff all the time. And I do live in Buffalo, and our area, like I'm in Niagara County, or well, I'm in Erie now, but in Niagara County, we've had a lot of nuclear waste testing and dumping and all the things,
Mm,
and Love Canal. I don't know. It's, that was from the 70s, but
no, no.
we had a ton, and we are the leader in MS in this country, in this area, and thyroid. Um, yeah,
It
it's
makes
something.
perfect
Yeah.
sense.
So, not
Well,
only
you
is it
can't not be affected by your environment.
exactly,
That's just ignorant.
yeah,
To exist, in some kind of sterile bubble inside of what is, a big toxic mess is
yeah,
impossible. Right.
yeah,
And we don't see things immediately. We see things over time. That's why the government is constantly having to change, how they evaluate veterans because they're like, guess what? My dad has Parkinson's,
yeah,
right? And he was exposed to Agent Orange.
yep,
But they kept saying, like, oh, you weren't in the right location. You were in this location. I'm like, what? I'm like, if I smell garbage, it doesn't matter what part of the planet I'm standing on. I still smell garbage,
exactly,
right? I
exactly.
came in contact with it, take care of me.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not wrong. There's a lot of those things going on in the world, and we don't give it a voice.
Yeah.
We don't say, hey, look, there are alternate methods with which we can relieve these scenarios. We can take care of ourselves better
Mm-hmm.
by allowing ourselves to not abandon what we do now,
Mm-hmm.
like in the Western world. There's no need to get rid of the diagnosticians that we have. They're amazing,
Right.
right? We want that on our side. But hey, maybe it isn't a bucket of pills to make this change in a system that was already existing independent of pills,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep.
It's like a fish tank.
Yep.
In my mind, I look at the human body as a pool, a fish tank, or something that can get cloudy,
Yep.
that can get algae, that can get stuck in different states if it doesn't have the right inputs or the right balance inside of it. And that can come from what you put in it, outside environment,
Mm-hmm.
and also your mental state.
Yep.
Your mental state is so big in this equation. Meditation was a huge thing that I took on. And I can tell you, the more I meditated physically, I began to feel better because those mental knots and those past situations that you've gone through that have not been addressed eventually start to become unraveled. They don't go away, but the effects of them being something that you've held on to
Mm-hmm.
go away. They dissipate. The things that you used to think about all the time that caused you the most pain from the bullying or the upbringing
Mm-hmm.
now become a page. They don't become, a chapter anymore. They dwindle in size.
Right.
There's something that you can maybe call upon in a mindful moment when you do step out of character and you act like that abused person that's striking out at someone. You're like, whoa. Well, that's Jay from 13 years old talking, right when he
Mm-hmm.
got so and so bullied him. That's interesting. You become like a witness to your own characters
Right.
after a certain amount of time with
No,
meditation.
for
So
sure.
I'm with you on
Yeah.
these, different approaches. They're the way that we should integrate all of our approach to holistic living.
100%. I meditate several times a day now. And
Beautiful,
they're
isn't it?
short, but they're
It
there, and
doesn't matter.
it helps. And not only is it like your own stuff that you're hanging on to, and your brain saying, hey, don't do this new thing because remember when, it's also,
Remember
it's
when?
generational. That is something that they're proving now. It is
Hmm.
absolutely, if your grandparents, great grandparents, parents, whatever, went through some kind of trauma, their body hung on to that. Like they're looking at like the generations, like from the Holocaust, for instance, and
Mm.
they're like, oh my God, this just keeps
That's
coming
a
up.
very nervous generation after that. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
not trying to be
Yeah.
stereotypical,
No.
but that is it makes perfect
Yep.
sense that would be a byproduct of having your entire identity stripped away or possibly eradicated from the world.
Exactly.
Why wouldn't you be hyper vigilant at that point as a complete and total culture,
Yep.
right?
For
All
sure.
politics aside, it just seems like the way that anybody should react.
Mm-hmm.
If your parents ducked every day, you'd duck later too, whether anything was coming or
Yep.
not. You just automatically do it.
Yep.
I think that we suffer from a genetic and hereditary insanity that we pass on generation to generation,
Mm-hmm.
some of it through. I heard an interesting way to describe what curse actually
Mm.
meant because I didn't quite have the same understanding. And a curse is an utterance, I believe is the description. And the utterance will plant a seed in the person of whatever is being said. And that in and of itself is what affects the change over time,
Mm-hmm.
the negative impact. And those are passed on when we're born from our parents, the societal impacts, the struggles. You know, we also don't mention the fact that we have a World War II generation that came back with zero mental health, right?
Right.
And nobody addressing the fact they were shell shocked as shit.
Mm-hmm.
And then they had to come home and be the man of the household. And we see that byproduct of that,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
So
Because the boomers
I'm
are
with you,
something.
bro. They're they're
They
funny,
are.
man. Like they're just angry at not understanding
Yep.
shit.
Yep.
I really think that's what it is.
Yep.
They're mad. The kids know more than them,
Mm-hmm.
whereas when we grew up, they knew more than us the entire time.
Right. Yeah.
Now they're just standing there like a pig staring at a wristwatch, angry at life.
Right.
I don't understand this thing. Like, I
Things are
love when people
changing. Oh
respond to
my
me like,
God.
well,
Yeah.
it wasn't on my calendar.
Exactly.
Must have been a problem. Like, yeah, you're right. You're the only one that doesn't get the
Right.
invites.
Right. Right.
Like,
Oh man. Yeah. No. 100%. That is so
they're
funny.
angry at everything. It's kind of funny, but also picture is no longer worth 1,000 words.
Right.
They grew up in a generation that said once it's put on a photograph, it lasts forever. And that's the truth. No matter what, if somebody could show you a picture,
Mm-hmm.
you would believe them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, guess what? Now they have access to billions of pictures,
Yep.
but they no longer can be taken at face value.
Right.
So it scares the shit out of a generation that puts so much stock into the reliability and the fact that a picture had been taken. So when they scroll through their social media feed and they see Hillary Clinton has an octopus baby, you can bet they're going to be at the grocery store telling somebody about the tentacles crawling out the ass of Hillary Clinton's baby because they saw what? A picture. I saw it, Betty. I saw that picture. Don't tell me. It was right there. It was like it was in the Inquirer.com.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
That's what they're saying. And they believe it.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they?
Well,
They
exactly.
don't know what the fuck Photoshop is.
Yep. No,
They
well,
don't know
and
what
they
Illustrator is.
they
don't
grew up in a
know
time
Lightroom.
where it was just after World War II, right? So we're kind of on this high point in the 50s, but we trust the government and we trust the media and we trust that everybody's just going to tell us what we need to know. And they didn't have access to things like TikTok, for instance, telling them from other countries, well, here's what actually happened. Your government, your soldiers, whatever, did this, that, and the other. We know now. we have access to things that was unfathomable before. Like the world is getting smaller because we have these new technologies, and these kids, like, look at the riots that they're, or not riots, look at the protests that they're having. You know, like this didn't happen in the 90s. This didn't happen in the 80s because we didn't have access to what was actually
Couldn't
going
talk to
on.
each other.
Yeah.
Siloed.
Yeah.
Kids were siloed.
Yeah.
And scared of pictures. Let's talk about something. Body dysmorphia.
Yes.
It's a real thing. I have it. I grew up in, my childhood, I had gynecomastia,
Mm,
and it put me in a position where, I was ridiculed in a small town, and I hid from photos.
mm-hmm,
For the longest time, I don't have photos of me. So it really rang true with me when you were saying that. My wife has been great about just, she has plastered pictures of family everywhere,
mm-hmm,
right? Whereas there's a gap in my life where none of that existed, because to be in front of that camera meant that all of my flaws were going to be seen,
mm-hmm,
right?
mm-hmm.
And we put so much stock in what people think of us. I can't imagine being someone that's given the privilege of photographing people in their most vulnerable moments, what it's like to help someone struggle with, because I'd like to say that the majority of people have body dysmorphia. It's kind of my thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think that we've been given so many standards that you can't not have something that you want to morph from or do.
Yeah. Yep.
Right. So, in my mind, though, I'd like to think that you're given this situation where you're seeing someone in that vulnerable moment. How do you help somebody become, what they truly are, a beautiful and vibrant person that's worth taking those photographs of?
I absolutely agree with you. I think most people do have some kind of body dysmorphia. And as
If you've
somebody,
got a good side, you've got body dysmorphia.
exactly, exactly. I hate hearing that from people. Like, this is my good side. I'm like, yep, both are your good
Sure.
side. um,
Are you talking about your personality, or are you going to yell in 5 minutes?
exactly.
Like, 'cause-
No, so for me, it's something I always struggled with. And honestly, my
Mm,
earliest memory of it, I was 6, and I
mm,
remember it clearly. Like, I was in like these little overalls. I went on this trip, like 3-week trip with my grandparents to Disney World. Like, we stopped all of these different places on the way down. And we were in a hotel, and I sat in these overalls. They were little shorts, and I saw my thighs spread. And I was maybe 40 pounds. Like, I was a very small kid because food
mm.
was my control. Not so much that I wanted to be skinny, because I wasn't like really thinking about that back then, but it was more, whatever. So I was underweight, and I thought I was fat because saw the thigh spread at 6. So that is something that I had always struggled with. So when women come in, I completely understand where they're coming from. Men do struggle with it too. I'm not going to,
Mm-hmm.
discount that. But women seem to take it a little harder than men do sometimes.
They've got less places to hold their self-worth in this societal hierarchy.
Yes.
We haven't given them many places to put their self-worth, whereas men have corporate, sports, and all these things, you know, over time.
Yes.
Now that's changing.
Yeah.
However, back then it was meals. How do
Hmm.
what do you look like in makeup? Don't get caught slacking either,
Right.
which is so
Yeah.
stupid.
Yeah. We feel
But please
guilty if
continue.
we have, a spare 5 minutes that we take a nap or sit down. Like, oh, I should really be doing this,
Oh, I can't. I figured this out. I can't tell my wife that I saw her napping,
Oh,
because if I see her nap and leave,
yeah.
it's pretty funny. I'll say, "So how was the nap?" "I didn't sleep." And I'm like, "Yes, you did. I was there."
Oh,
But
man.
it's funny because women will deny having slept. But yeah, so what I do now is I'll leave something there, like I'll put a little something. So it's like,
Yeah.
trust me, I was there. Look to your
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Nah, I wasn't. I closed my
Close my
eyes."
eyes.
Like,
Yeah.
right? It's like there's some kind of shame
There
button that
is.
goes
Yeah.
off. Like, slacker.
Yeah. No, for sure. So yeah, no, when I do, so part of my spiel when I get people on the phone, because women are always worried about, well, I really want to do it, but maybe after I lose weight or whatever. I am good for 20 pounds in posing and lighting alone. So I start with that, and I'm like, look, I promise that this will be the best portrait you've ever had. It's guaranteed. Or I give you your money back, or we find another day to shoot and we do something else, or whatever. But I get them to trust me by listening to my story, by listening to the stories I have from other women. And
Mm,
we try, at least for that day, to have them embrace who they are and where they've been. Because those stretch marks, those scars, the muffin
they're
top, whatever
beautiful.
it is that you're like super bothered by, you lived through stuff. And
Mm,
those are just marks of life well lived, like you have stretch marks on your stomach because you brought a human into the world. You, you have, you maybe, I kind of, in the class, I kind of liken our bodies to vehicle, right? Like when you're
hmm
young and you don't have many responsibilities, you're kind of driving along the little sports car. When you get a little older, you need to maybe drive the minivan for a little while, because you just don't have time to work on yourself as much as you would like. And then
hmm
and then you kind of don't know what to do when you get that time. So it's like a whole nother thing. But be proud of it and know that it is something that got you to where you are right now. And when
mm,
they see the pictures and they're so happy with how I captured it, how they look, how they presented themselves. Because, like I said, I coached through posing, emotion, like facial, all the body posture stuff before I even take the shot. So they aren't ever at a loss for what to do with their hands or their face or
mm,
whatever, and they trust me to bring it out in them. And then they're shocked when they see it, and it gives them the little boost that they need to be like, okay, I'll go for a walk today, or do whatever. And then they come back and they've lost, whatever weight that they wanted to lose that they were hanging on to for years because they just had that tiny little confidence boost that was enough to be like,
mm.
oh, yeah, I feel good about
So
this.
it could be a catalyst as
Mm-hmm.
well.
Yep.
I like that we had someone on recently who creates branding movies
Mm,
for people, which I think is an amazing thing to do because number one, nobody's going to pick their character and put themselves in a bad light,
mm-hmm,
right? And with the right person, they're going to get you to put the most important and most valuable qualities about yourself up there. But there's a byproduct of this. You always have a in memoriam shot of who you said you are.
mm-hmm,
So if you find yourself drifting into a different world where you're acting different ways and you're maybe not being yourself,
mm-hmm,
and you go back and take a look at that, it's a mindful moment for you to say, maybe I need to course correct, or maybe I need to add a part two
mm-hmm,
because this is okay. I am growing from there. But if you're not meeting that minimum standard of what you told everybody out there who you were,
mm-hmm.
then you have questions for yourself. And I like the fact that I'm not saying that we need to benchmark somebody that they need to look that way throughout
Right.
time. What I'm saying is that that is a benchmark in self
Mm-hmm.
worth. It is an opportunity for them to see what their true beauty,
Yep.
right? Because to me, being yourself, being authentic and accepting yourself for who you are feels like a cliff with a blindfold
Mm-hmm.
that ends up being a curb.
Yep.
You think you're going to plummet to your death simply by being yourself and accepting yourself. Because everybody's going to see all of the flaws that I see. And guess what? You know yourself better than anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
You're the one tagging them, not us. Right.
Right.
But as soon as you step off, people are there with open arms. They've been there the whole time, and the right people.
Yep.
You're not going to get the shitty people that are attracted to the person that isn't who you
Yep.
are.
Yep.
Hello. Like, if you don't want to be corporate, why the hell would you want to be around corporate people?
Mm-hmm.
Right? As soon as you start being yourself, then the people that'll accept you for who you are come to you.
Yep.
Right? And also, it's a filter. If somebody doesn't like you for something about you that is not a critical issue, right? then they're the fucked up person.
Mm-hmm.
Let them go figure out why they don't like it. I saw a young man one time at the mall. He had was trying to sell me something, then gave up, went into his normal self for a second. He's like, dude, I'm just having a bad day. I got a tattoo right here.
Oh,
And he points at a diamond under his eye. And I'm like, okay. He's like, people are looking at me different now. And it's really bothering me. And I stood there for a moment. I had to think about it. It's like, this is a pivotal moment for this dude.
mm-hmm.
Right? He can either be ashamed of this for the rest of his life or struggle and create a character that accepts it, or you tell him it's a filter for fucked up people.
There you go.
Bro, you just solved all your problems in life,
Mm-hmm.
right? With a simple, not all your problems, but you're able to filter out so many humans that are not capable of loving people for who they are in a simple tattoo on your face. Because if somebody doesn't want to talk to you because you got a tattoo under your eye, they're pretty fucked up. It's their issue. It's not yours. And he's like, you're not wrong.
Right.
And hopefully, I'm not saying I'm like, oh, I solved this guy's problems, but hopefully he recognized that was not his self-worth. That's not where it's derived from. And that anytime somebody looks at him with that face, they should be holding up a mirror.
Yep. Yep. That is 100%. So like if, for instance, if you're bothered by something that somebody did, or if I'm bothered by something that somebody did, I do the deep work and I'm like, what in me? Because I must be
Why does
doing,
this bother me?
what am I doing that bothers me? Am I doing that same thing? Because
Where am I
everybody's a
doing it?
mirror, right? Like they're mirroring this stuff back to you, and you're either going to be okay with it or not. And if you're not okay with it, you have to kind of go in and be like, why am I not okay with this? And be honest about it. Like, is it because I do the same thing on some level? Is it because, they just suck or whatever? But, it's the only way that you're going to get to the bottom of it instead of just jumping to, oh, they just suck, figure it out inside. Because you know what, if we're not okay with we're with ourselves our whole lives. Like we got to be okay with ourselves because we're not getting away from us,
Agreed.
Yeah.
I find the same thing with revisited scenarios. I've gotten to a point now where I ask myself, if I find myself in these similar situations that keep cropping up where it's got a negative outcome and find myself constantly dealing with it, now I'm at a point in my life where I step back, like, hold on a minute. Why am I running into this dude? We're going to say it's dude, but it's anything, the situation. Why is this dude in my face twice a week?
Yep.
There's something that I'm doing that's putting me here face to face with this. And if I don't solve it, me and this dude are going to prom. We're getting married. We're having all this lifelong shit because I can't figure out why I keep running into it. Right? Never mind the fact that it's probably because my right shoe's fucking got a lower heel. I don't like some stupid shit. But I mean, honestly, there's a reason for constantly getting into the same scenarios, and you do have to self-evaluate. You got to try to figure out why it is that I keep ending up on this person's doorstep.
Absolutely.
Or this scenario's doorstep. I think that's self-awareness, that's mindfulness, that's understanding. And it's also the onus of creators that you have a dedicated mindful moment that's been given to you, an artistic moment, because most people don't value their own. We've decided that we'll throw it up for grabs. And if you're the one that catches it, it's your responsibility to provide them with content that is worthwhile in some way, shape, or form. Even if it's mindless, it has to be your passion, and you got to put it up there. If you're putting up widgeted art, Photoshop crap, whatever it is, it's going to be worth what you put it up there for. You know why you need 100,000 posts? Because you put up 10% of your capability in each and every one of them. If you sat down and did one truly passionately, it would show up completely different at the end. It's that smile that's actually on the face versus the one that's being created for other people.
Good callback. Yes. Absolutely.
I've done this a day
Good
or two.
job.
Elizabeth, we're coming around to an hour. You said before you're not working on any specific projects. However, I do want to give you an opportunity to talk about your speaking engagements that you
Oh, for
do,
sure.
or the where people can find you to get photography
Oh,
done,
thank you.
or any other things that you offer. So please go
Yeah,
ahead.
absolutely. So I do have a few things in the works, but they're not quite ready to launch yet.
We'll
But
have you
people
back.
can find me at elizabethsnyderphotography.com. And I'm ESP LLC on almost every social media outlet too. I do teach a course on living your purpose, which
Love it.
is it is up and running for the masterclass right now, but not quite there for the workshop. I'm still working on some kinks there. But there is a PDF link that I believe you have that if you want to share it, it
Yep.
takes them right to the
We'll share
workbook.
it in the show notes.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I speak on confidence on camera, body language, and living your purpose and finding that purpose and knowing what to do with it.
You know, punctuation's important. And I think you ended that sentence correctly. You are the person that is helping people find their way. I mean, you might be a photographer, an artist, but I think that you're also a key master, right? I think that certain people on this earth are given the ability to create keys to a further awakening or a further opportunity in life. And I don't think that we create them individually. I think that we just create them through our authentic passion, and it's up to the person to recognize it in the moment. But I think that you have a gift at creating a very beautiful moment with which someone can love themselves and contemplate, right? Have I been doing
Mm,
this? Do I deserve more? Right. And I asked earlier about
hmm.
careers, but I think that maybe more of the byproduct could be self worth,
Yeah.
confidence. And confidence creates those moments down the road where you'll step out onto a limb to be yourself,
Hmm.
and realize that your potential has been sitting in your back pocket the whole time. You've just been ignoring
Yep.
it. Right. But I appreciate that you recognized your potential, that you took the tools that you earned through your trials and tribulations, put them in your photography toolbox, and went back to yourself as a child and said, check out what I got. I got new toys, right?
Hmm.
It's going to give us depth. It's going to give us flair. It's going to give us excitement. It's going to give us emotion, all these things. These are the tools that are now in my photography toolbox. And thank you for sharing that with people, for sharing it with our listeners and myself. And I appreciate you living your passion.
Thank you so much. That is so sweet of you. I really do appreciate it. I try to give back as much as I can with all of this. Um, and thank you, Jay, for doing the same. Oh my God, this podcast should be on everywhere. Everybody should know about it.
Oh, I
It's
appreciate that.
amazing, and you're doing the good work by sharing these stories and showing people that their authenticity is the only thing that matters.
God, that's all we need. Everybody's a puzzle piece to the most beautiful picture. Stop trying to make yourself a corner or a fucking weird
Yeah,
ass piece that's all like end pieces. If you're one of the, bizarre ones off to the side, just be
yeah,
that because you're supposed to be.
exactly.
You don't get the full picture if you're running around acting like a different jigsaw puzzle
Hmm.
piece.
Or hiding. You help no one
Or
by playing
hiding,
small.
yeah. I like that. I like that a lot. Well, everybody remember that. Okay. All right, everybody, remember, be cool and keep learning. And just one second.